Welcome. My name is Ed Zinkiewicz. Today I want to talk to you about hobbies. In particular, I want to talk about how hobbies might fail you in retirement. There's 4 things you can do when that seems to be happening, and I want to run through them today for you so you can have some ideas of where to go and what to do. The first one has to do with my friend John. John and I worked in the pool together. We walked laps. We talked all the time. He kept telling me things like, you know, Ed, when you retire, you're going to be so busy, you're going to wonder how you've ever found time to go to work. And when I did retire, John would say, aren't you so busy? You can't figure out how you found time to go to work? And I would say, yeah, sure, John. And John then told me one day, you know, Ed, I make ships in a bottle. I have filled my house with ships in a bottle. I've filled my daughter's house with ships in a bottle. I am tired of ships in a bottle. And that's what this presentation today is all about. What happens when a hobby that was a favorite begins to decline in interest? What do you do then? 4 things I want to suggest to you to do. First one, of course, is you can do what John did, and that's what I call memorization. You take pictures, you put them in your scrapbook, you move on, find a new hobby. He's going to have a tough time replacing that one because it's a particularly good one for, things like it's very involving and engaging to get down in there and work through that little hole to get things done. You could get into a state called flow where you're so busy doing it, you lose track of time. That's an enviable place to be in. That's what hobbies are really good for. So, what's he going to replace it with? Interesting thing. But that's one option. Move on. Another thing you can do, I call experimentation. Maybe you have so many things you want to do, you don't know which ones to pursue first. So, start with 2. Compare them, see how they come out. Maybe do more than that. Maybe do them serially. However it comes out, you can find out which ones win and which ones don't. Now, when I retired, I had an interest in doing photography. I promised myself from the time I was in high school that I would get to do photography when I retired. So I bought the camera. I took all the courses. In fact, I think for 3 months I overdosed on photography classes. At the end of that time, I put the camera down and didn't go pursue that hobby any longer. I just didn't want to get up every morning and go take pictures. Now, I'm a better photographer. I don't regret having done that. It was a good experience. But for me, it's about memorization. And it's about the experiment. I found out something that didn't work. Susan, my friend, on the other hand, took that photography class, started taking pictures. We haven't heard hide nor hair of her since. Every once in a while she'll surface in Facebook and there'll be some pictures to show, and they're wonderful. But her experiment took, and she's now taking pictures most every day, all day. She's very good at it. So, hey, experimentation. Give it a try, see how it works. A third thing that you can do, I call commercialization. My friend Jean loves to paint. She and her friends do plein air painting, which means they do it outside. They go someplace like an old barn, they pop up their easels, they paint a picture of the barn, and they move on. They go to a river, do the same thing. Now, what they do with their paintings as a group, however, is interesting because they've talked some nonprofit organizations into having them as to help with their fundraisers. We'll bring in pictures that you can auction. And so half the money goes to the plein air painters where they can go buy new paint and buy new canvases because that stuff's expensive. The other half to the volunteer organization, nonprofit organization. Good trade-off for everybody concerned. I know a lady who makes doll clothes for American Dolls. She does something similar. Another lady that does quilts. She calls the organization Quilts for Valor. They give them to veterans. It's a way of turning what you do as a hobby into the next stage, helping provide revenue or things of interest or care or concern to nonprofit organizations. Move it out, do something with the hobby. A last thing you might consider doing, I call elevation. There's several ways to do this. One is, I'm sure you've told a lot of people about your hobby and they're interested. How do you do that? So why don't you teach them? Teach them how to paint. Teach them how to make ships in a bottle. What's to lose? You'll find maybe you'll even attract a group that you can work with to keep on doing it together. And you'll have something else to do while you're doing it. Gene has a group. They're all friends. And that adds another element to the whole hobby thing. Last thing you might do is to really take the hobby seriously in terms of, let's talk about ships in a bottle anyway. Somebody has to design those things. You might go out and buy a kit so you could make that ship for that purpose. But what would it take for you to go to buy the materials, cut out all the pieces and create one, design one from scratch? I have no idea, but it certainly elevates that hobby from just making ships in a bottle to being a ships in the bottle designer. That's another step up. There you have it. Memorization, go put it in your scrapbook. Experimentation, use it to decide what to do. Commercialization, make what you do available to help someone else. And elevation, either teach people or get deeper into the hobby itself. All those things are great options. You want to know more options? Come back and see some more tips, some more videos in this series. I publish 2 tips a week. They're a minute to 2 long. I publish talks like this one twice a month, and I publish tutorials, a more lengthy involvement discussion of a given topic in retirement once a month. Find out, see what's going on and what you can do. I'm Ed Zinkiewicz. I want you to subscribe to this channel so you can hear about what's coming. You can do that by pushing the big red button or the big purple button at the end of this video. And come to my website, Retirement Kickstart, sign up for my newsletter, and I'll tell you when the next video is coming out. In the meanwhile, leave a comment. What's your hobby? Has it failed you? Are you looking forward to it? Are you going to experiment with it? What are you going to do? Leave me a comment. I'd love to talk to you and start a dialogue about what's going on. Thanks for coming. Come back for the next video.
This is Ed. Want to know when the next video's out? Click subscribe below and click the little bell. Better yet, go to my website and sign up for my newsletter. You'll get notified about new videos.